And she was not very bad at getting to technology, so you know how much word. It's a good group.
Gee. Break it like now I gotta.
Got authoritative.
That was. Pretty good. Okay. All right, Adam. I'd like to welcome everyone out to Planning Commission this evening. We'll go ahead and start with a pledge of allegiance, which I will lead. Give him a second. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, one of my biggest fears is that I, for some reason, forget the words to the Pledge of Allegiance. I know. Excuse me. All right, item number 2, public comment. We will open up for public comment if there is any. And just a reminder to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less and to state your name and city. The floor is yours if there's any who would like to take the floor. All right, moving on. Item number 3, approval of consent agenda. Are there any concerns or comments from my fellow commissioners regarding the agenda?
It all looked reflective of what happened.
This would be a comment for the next one, and maybe I missed it last time, but did the acreage change? Is it, I swear it says 2.1 something, and then it's 2.8 this week or this month for the next month. So it's in the minutes from last month. Unless I was wrong, but I swear that I read that. Which one? What was?
Is 2.8 the correct number then?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was,
Yeah, okay,
was, yeah,
okay.
corrected that.
So it's okay. So it was supposed to be that way last month, and it's okay. That's the one thing I know.
I failed to mention that Commissioner Losi is not present with us and she is excused this evening. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'll move that we approve the consent agenda items.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm a yes as well. Okay, item number 4, action on final plat for South Bench Meadows subdivision parcel 13-030-009, approximately 2.84 acres, located at approximately 94 South, 1025 East by applicant John Wall. Trevor, would you like to give us some intel on this one?
Yes, so fairly straightforward plat. If you want to pull that up for them just to see. So 5-lot subdivision that was previously Mitchell's Cove subdivision. The home will remain, but there'll be some modifications to the exterior patio area to meet setback requirements. All the lot widths comply. Engineering review is complete, and everything looks good to go on there. And so we recommend approval on it or recommend your recommendation for approval to the city council on this one, because it complies with the city. One of the things of note is that there's a temporary turnaround that will have an easement recorded on the lot 1 that will have to remain clear to have a clear fire turnaround until the South Bench Drive continues through that Dad's Farm property that's next to it. And so that's temporary, and that temporary is used as a city term, so that could mean anywhere from 5 to 150 years. So it just depends on how long that comes. But yeah, I'll answer any questions. The developer is here tonight, so if you have any questions for him, you can direct those to him as well.
Are there any specific statements the developer would like to make? Okay. Then I'll open up for my fellow commissioners. Are there any questions regarding this particular action item?
I vaguely remember when we had this before us before, that there were some easement issues to clear up. I'm guessing that those were all taken care of.
Yeah, we have the plan approval letters from both Davis and Weber County Canals and the South Weber Water Improvement Districts. And all of the easements and discrepancies were taken care of.
Okay. And then I know that it's not really in our purview to worry about, but were there water rights that still need to be acquired on? some-
No, because we have the approval letters that shows that there's enough water for
Okay,
the secondary. Mhm.
awesome.
And it looks like we were just confirming the fees for the retention.
Correct.
And that was less than what we said last month, so. Like $800, so.
John's really sad about that. He wants to just donate that.
Yeah,
Can you get that in the minutes, noting that? I'm joking.
I have no further questions.
Any concerns, Commissioner Scholl?
no, it looks like, yeah, because that, once that's paid and signed, then. Locked in reach forward, so, yeah, I think. That was the only thing I know, I thought we were waiting on from last time, so,
Looks great.
yeah, I like it.
Commissioner Boatwright?
I'm pretty good. It's straightforward, so.
I am the same way, so I'll look for a motion for recommendation.
Julie's not here. She usually does all these, so.
I'll step in.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Or
The-
recommend approval.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the action on final plat of South Bench Meadows subdivision parcel number 13-030-0009, approximately 2.84 acres, located approximately 7494 south, 1025 east by applicant John Wall.
I'll second.
All right, we'll do a roll call, starting with Commissioner Scholl,
Yes.
Commissioner McFadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Boatwright,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Thank you. All right, item number 5 is kind of weird that I'm introducing this, but special recognition for outgoing planning commissioner myself.
Well, I did have this artwork of your head commissioned and to put up,
Whatever.
2021 to 2023, like a
I'm sure that
funeral.
would have gone over really well. Yeah,
Nice little
Really
brass
well.
bust and
I'm sure. Was this your item?
yeah, you
Trevor?
can pass it over to me.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
So like we do for everybody leaving the planning commission, we want to just recognize your service here on the planning commission. You've seen and done a lot, and I know that because I've been here for almost all of it. And so so we really want to thank you for your contributions here. We've really been able to, with Gary starting and you taking over, kind of streamlining the meetings and helping them flow and getting them processed through. It's not easy to remember if you have to do a roll call vote to end open public hearings or open comments. But you did a great job, and so really grateful for the opportunity to work with you in doing this. And we just have a little thank you for being here. So.
Cool.
We can open it up for anybody else that wants to say anything sappy and.
Yeah. Would you guys like to say anything?
It's God.
So, so I've appreciated sitting alongside you for the last few years here, and when I heard you were running for city council, I couldn't think of, well, Blair's here, but I like Blair too, but I was very pleased when I heard that, and you didn't have to go through an election because there was only 3, but if you had to go through an election, you certainly would have gone through. I think your integrity and your level-headedness, and it's a value to a situation like this, and you'll continue that on the city council, and be nice to us
Yeah.
when you're out there. Remember where you came from. So
I appreciate that, Gary. Thank you very much.
I echo those same sentiments. It's been fantastic working alongside with you, Jeremy. You know, it's been a great learning experience, and you know, good to develop that relationship.
Thank you, likewise.
This is, I learned that this was a little more difficult to learn everything than I thought. Your leadership and professionalism has been awesome and very helpful, and yeah, look forward to recommending things to you.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it. Yeah. No, thank you very much. I mirror a lot of your guys' comments right back at you. Well, the past 3 years have definitely been eye-opening. And hopefully you guys feel the same way when it's your time to decide what to do after your 3 years is over, right? I don't think anybody can really fully understand what happens until they sit in these seats and have to do what we do. And I started 3 years ago with the intent to serve the community. I felt like I've done that. And I'm really excited to join Blair and the other council members and the mayor on the city council and to continue that service. And hopefully I can continue even past my initial 4 years, God willing. So my plan is always serve the community and to do my very best in that. And hopefully I can live up to that for the remainder of my tenure, however long that is. So, but thank you again. That your kind words are very, very well received. Thank you very much. All right, can we move on now?
No, let's make it long.
Yeah. All right.
Song prepared.
All right, item number 6, land use lookout for 2024. Take it away.
So this was vague on purpose.
Thank you.
There are quite a few things that within the city you need to be aware of that's coming up this next year, just to brush up and maybe watch some YouTube videos and attend some conferences with some of this perspective. So as far as city goes, the state has required every city to update their general plan and make sure that there is a component for water within their general plan, which shouldn't be a giant update. I'm gonna qualify it. Shouldn't be a giant update to do that. But what that means is that we will have to get the water Weaver Basin in and have them help us craft our general plan and make sure there's elements of water conservation and water preparation for the future, and just looking at future impacts for water with them. They're ready to do that, but we just got to initiate with them and get going on that.
So quick question, Trevor, is next year the year to update the whole general plan, or are we still a year away from that?
So the general plan began in 2019 when we first did the last update. It was passed late 2020. And so if we were to follow a similar schedule, this year would be the year that we would start, and probably 2025
Okay.
we would adopt. Yeah,
You'll be gone.
so I would, with that, since you already have to touch the general plan with the water, then it's not a complete substantive update. I would anticipate. I would anticipate that you would actually meet with the city council to discuss kind of how that will roll out and what the scope will be for that. There are some modifications that need to be made to the map just based on some zoning that's taking place. In the future, just for maintenance, I know it sounds scary, but a general good practice is if you do a rezone that doesn't quite match the general plan, that you also do a general plan amendment to amend that map so that when the 5-year comes around, that you don't have to do a substantial update to the map. Less touching it, right? To do that. We haven't done that. We didn't have very many that didn't meet the general plan. The only ones I can think of were Gateway, right? That one had that crosshatch and it was split zoned. And that's about generally it. There's some areas down in, like Riverwood would be another one that potentially could have, but there's not a ton. But
well, you're alluding to what I was thinking, that if we're going to touch it, then let's just kind of start that process.
you don't have to get elbow deep and
Yeah.
rifle around in it. But there are some other considerations, like the moderate income housing that we discussed that with the city council on Tuesday. If you're not aware, I think I made you guys aware of it, but if you're not, we were found out of compliance when we did our last update. Mainly that was our action plan on the single room occupancies that was selected in there. We had a discussion with the city council. They wish to mend that plan in the coming months. I would say within the next 5 to 6 months. It's not urgent. It needs to be done before August so that when you do your update in August, you can tell them this is our new plan.
Should we just wait till March to see what else the legislature is going to make?
You may, and I think that's probably a wise thing to do, because there might be some things that will impact modern income housing that will have to update the plans. Because that's how they roll, it seems these days. It's been 2 years, so they might as well change it again. But yeah, I would maybe wait to gauge that temperature. It's not something you have to get on immediately, but it is something we need to update. And that is part of the general plan, technically. And so we can just touch that. There is some elements that you could use to inform a conversation. Item F, which was selected, was to talk about using overlay zones. And so you could emphasize in the general plan what the policy would be to, or in the guiding principles would be to using that overlay zone. And they use the overlay zone as like the PUD overlay zone. And so there's a good natural fit there. And so that's something that you could talk about in a general plan on how to do that. So I'm not suggesting that we throw it out and start over by any means. But it's just something to look at. If you haven't done so recently, go and read the general plan and formulate some ideas to have a conversation with city council when that time comes. The next thing would be there's always general maintenance to do. We passed the Title 11 updates, but with any new code, we need to go through it and make sure that it's conforming to how we really want it to operate. And so watch for general maintenance and updates that might occur, especially in other sections. Title 10, I feel is kind of the next beast to tackle, because there's some wonky code in there, and kind of cleaning that up a little bit. One of my least favorite section is the supplemental unqualifying conditions section of that title. It's literally the junk drawer of our code. When we don't know where something should go, it went in the supplemental qualifying conditions. And so we'll talk about like toxic waste in 1 minute, and then it's talking about fence proportions and clear sight and the dog kennels, and so it's just kind of a hodgepodge. So that will come through the city council, through the code committee. They'll be working on some things like that. So just keep that in mind. And then I just wanted to have you have this on your radar. I went to the legislative policy committee. All of these are tentative, but the state is looking at the things that will impact us more. They're looking at infrastructure districts. That's it's kind of a really complex system that is out there. Essentially, it'd be creating a special district for infrastructure. And you can collect property tax for that infrastructure. Right now, they're talking about developers initiating that and just getting the signatures from the landowners and creating those districts. And we're a little hesitant about developer-led districts, and we'd like the city to kind of be a part of that process if they're going to create infrastructure districts.
The legislature's developer led. So
Yeah, there's a contingency in there, isn't there? And so that's something that could come to the forefront. I don't see that impacting South Weber a lot, but it could be something that a developer could use to help fund their infrastructure needs.
I was gonna say, how many of these that you're kind of calling out do you think would actually be something we would need to consider because we have a spot to put something?
That one, I would just want to make sure that everybody's aware of it, just in case that comes down the line. And there might be, as we dig into it more, there might be more city impacts, like having a representative from the board on the board from the city to help with those districts and things like that.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
They're called all sorts of things, but one of the main ones is PIDs, so public infrastructure districts, or DIDs, which I can't remember is what the D stands for, but there's a whole bunch of different types used around the country, and so they're looking at doing that here. Not necessarily opposed to it, just cautious about it on how those get implemented. It also allows them to tap into the bonding market to bond for their infrastructure, right? And so that's, I don't know, it's just different, and we want to be careful jumping into that.
Yeah.
The governor's really interested in first home buyers. And that's not just their first home buyer program, which is a grant program that you can go and help with your down payment. It's also looking at how cities can implement policy to allow for developers to build first time homes. First job is they have to define what a first home is. And they aren't sure if that's a price point or a size or anything like that. So that's that could be potentially something that will drive a moderate income housing plan. And so just keep on the eye lookout for that. And then there's some general land use task force updates that they want to they're looking at doing. A lot of them feel like they're getting into our business a little bit on, like, one example is how to make it so cities can't require a sidewalk prior to getting a building permit, and only allowing them to require a sidewalk after the building's built, because developers are saying that's driving up the cost of the units because they're destroying the sidewalks and having to replace them. I don't know if that accounts for the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe it accounts for 10 to 15 thousand
really expensive now.
but that's a state legislative item, which is really interesting to us because that feels like a really granular level
That is
item.
granular.
And there's other ones about what we can and can't count in easements, and or not easements, in setbacks. And so do awnings count for setbacks, or can you put an awning out through a setback and things like that? And so they want to really make sure that every city does the same thing on that, which we weren't super stoked about. There's a lot of snide remarks from the city.
I thought the majority party in Utah believed in local control, isn't?
And
that
less
what I
government.
Keep hearing, okay,
It seems like, but I don't know.
just making sure I wasn't somewhere else.
Unless it's land.
They are, yeah, these ones seem like there's some heat behind them. And so we'll see how they go. We don't know what will actually get into the House and or the Senate, and what will be passed and sent on for signatures, but that's kind of the lookout. So there's going to be some work to do, and there's going to be some impacts from the state legislature, again, surprise, on land use. but just as you're going through the year, keep an eye out for those. Follow the legislative session because that's going to be really interesting to see what actually goes through and what gets worked on. So what those impacts will be. And then city staff and mayor and some of the city council are on the local policy or legislative policy committee. And so they can bring back updates from the legislative session as well. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's kind of our land use lookout for 2024. That's all I've got. Any other questions?
Seems like more of the same coming down from the legislature. So that's unfortunate.
Because we keep voting in the same people.
Well, true. Yeah, it's our own fault, I guess. All right, item number, get a bit closer. Item number 7, new business. Trevor, anything else that you want to add on this one?
This is his last meeting. This is my last meeting. My last day with the city is the 21st of December. And so I'll miss all of you guys. It's been a lot of fun
Thank you, Trevor.
to work with. Yes, so yeah, it's been South Weaver's been a great place to work, and I've really loved working with everybody here. And so it wasn't an easy decision to move, but I'll be moving out to Clinton as their city manager. So it's kind of a cool gig. So
If I can, Trevor has made these meetings much more productive, structured, and I would say legal. So it has been very much appreciated. So, and before that, and that's why I started coming, because Trevor's done a good job.
thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'll add
Absolutely.
to that. You helped show me the ropes, so to speak, Trevor. So it's really been nice getting to know you and working with you very closely, especially as the chair, and being able to spend even more time with you, and then in code committee, getting even more time there. So it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate everything that you've taught me and for the support that you've given this planning commission, because you see it in what you say and in what you do. So I appreciate that. So thanks for being a man of integrity.
Well, thank you.
And can I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been sitting here the longest, and so we've been through as well. I was here before you started, and I agree with everything that has been said, especially what Blair said as far as the structure and the streamlining, and also the helping to educate us. Because sometimes there's some confusion on I don't know if confusion or naivety of what we can and can't do as a planning commission, and you've helped educate us and help us be clear of where our role is and what our lane is to stay in. So I will miss you. I'm sure you've heard that a lot this month, but we certainly will miss you and wish you the best, and congratulations on your new appointment there in Clinton. They'll be very I'm going to say blessed by having you there. It'll be a good thing for Clinton City to have you there. So, and we've got big shoes to fill here. So
I agree. Big shoes to fill. You've set a high bar. I think it's going to be a challenge to find somebody to fill that role that you're going to leave vacant. So yeah, it's been fantastic. On all accounts mentioned.
Thank you.
From the moment that I missed my interview in person, and you called and told me that I was missing it, and you fixed it and made it happen still. It's been awesome getting to know you, and I appreciate everything. And you've set the standard for me, so I have high expectations for whoever fills your role. But and I went through the Title 10 junk drawer to try to see if there was anything in there that we could force you to stay against your will, even though it sounds like a good opportunity. But there wasn't anything. So I guess good luck. We'll work on that and get you back.
May have to wear chinos next time.
Um. All right, I'm assuming no more new business.
Other than the two, the Jeremy's vacant seat was filled by Chris Roberts at the city council. Okay. He was appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council on Tuesday and sworn in. So I am sending him all of his training materials and getting him set up to go so he can hit the ground running in January on the first meeting. And be thinking in January, you will need to select a new chair. Might as well do that while you don't have a chair in January rather than waiting till February. And so that will be one of the items that you'll.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that as well. And then one thing that came out of the code committee that we just did this year, I believe this is kind of a new policy we took this year, is that the chair and the co-chair were representatives on the code committee, and that ended up being really effective. So I would encourage you all to think about how to, if you want to continue that, I would recommend that you do. But if the people who end up as chair and co-chair aren't overly excited about that appointment, then you guys can definitely make a different decision. But think about that as well as part of kind of setting the rules for yourselves next year, is who's going to take up that charge to attend that. Outside of that, I didn't have anything else. Was there anything else that you guys would like to?
Also, just it's worth mentioning that Julie
Yeah.
was also approved for her second term.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Planning commission, sorry.
Commissioner Boatright, anything?
So just a couple of items. I noticed on the website that it's still under the planning commission, it still lists Commissioner Walton and doesn't have Commissioner Scola. So since we got to make a couple more changes, let's.
Hopefully I've earned my name at this point.
We'll finally let you on the website.
Burn your stripes.
The other question I had was with the appointment of the chair. Is it in code that it's done in February, or is it just kind of guidelines?
I'll double check that.
Okay, because that always seemed a little odd to me that and that the rotation kind of started in February, and I wonder if what the mayor's done this time can be kind of a new precedent of.
I do know in code, I think it's in code that the planning commission gets elected or selected in February. And I believe what that is that if there is a new seat open and there's a new city council, they have the ability to appoint prior to or after the election cycle and not during the lack of better term, the dead time between election and new year.
But we
So-
did that this year, though.
We did do that this year.
So
I'm speaking, that's probably why
Well,
it's there, but I don't,
as-
it doesn't have to be.
just some thoughts for the two city council members who are soon to be city council members. So
Yeah, I agree. I think the idea of the February was that because that's when everyone rotates in and out. But I don't know why February is chosen either. So that's something maybe we could look at to streamline things for sure.
but that's all I have.
Commissioner McFadden, anything else to add?
No.
Commissioner Scholl?
Nothing else?
All right, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All in favor?